All right. Learn to code, learn to code, learn to code. We're learning to code, and that's what we're gonna do today. Um, let's get my window open here real quick. Or the entire screen. Let's just share the entire screen. We are also streaming on YouTube right now. For those of you that have been having technical difficulties in the multiverse campus, watch the YouTube. The YouTube stream's coming in clean. Um, and you can comment there and I will see it. This is an interactive class. Feel free to chime in. Do know that we are streaming live to YouTube. Yesterday we had an audience of around 50 people watching because people want to learn to code, right? It's an interesting thing that we're doing. And uh, People from all over the world. We had a kid that is a food critic from India that I watched one of his videos on YouTube. It was nice to see like everyone who was tuning in to the Learn to Code session yesterday. But what did we do yesterday, right? We were focusing on ranked choice voting. Because I want to start this like cohort on the track of having our personal projects and then having group projects that we work on. With that in mind, we are going to close the polls, or the polls may have already closed. Um, close this poll now. Cool. Poll has been closed. Um, and Let's see what won. I guess I gotta go to the results page. Results. So, winner of the group project, which we'll be focusing on today, is the custom YouTube, Reddit, Facebook algorithm. ReRank, autoplay suggestions to show the good stuff first. And it won after one round, meaning it had more than 50% of the first votes. There was 9 ballots. All right, cool. So 9 people voted. This is democracy. I love to see it. It needed 5 to win, and 7 people put it in its top in the top place, ranked choice voting, for the win, right? And we had the mobile OBS tool and the relationship application, which nobody put in number one. All right, cool. Interesting, cool. So the custom YouTube, Reddit, Facebook algorithm, re-rank autoplay suggestion is what we're going to be working on. That's what we're going to be working on. Spoiler alert, I was looking at the votes yesterday and this morning, so I had a little bit of a jump on setting up today's lesson plan, which is cool, right? It was a landslide, right? We are going to be working on this custom YouTube, Reddit, Facebook algo, and we're going to be doing it together. Re-rank everything is the name of the application, right? Re-rank everything. So, uh, that's what we're gonna be talking about today. And let me bop 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 bop. All right. So, a little bit of discussion for the class to ponder on. Um, uh, on a scale of wait, let me see this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust your YouTube recommendations, right? And just think about it, or you can chime in if you want. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust your YouTube recommendations? 0. We got zeros in the chat. Um, what about YouTube? TK in the his house. What's up? Do you trust your YouTube recommendations? Uh, I mean, this is a bit of a meta question for those of you that are watching through the YouTube live because I may be recommended to your YouTube, so you better say 10, right? Um, you better say 10. Anyways, yeah, we got zeros in the chat, ones, twos. Um, that's bad, right? That's not good. That's not good. So, the problem, right? The problem statement for the application that we're going to build as a group. Social media algorithms don't optimize for what's good for you. They optimize for what keeps you scrolling, keeps you using the application, keeps you reacting to the ads, watching the ads that are paying them money to be shown on their application. They want that click through rate, right? They want to be able to say that our users watch the most ads, right? So, what the algorithm is actually optimizing for, right? It's optimizing for engagement, right? Clicks, watch time. It's optimizing for through our knowledge now of like Cambridge Analytica and sort of the foibles of Meta and the controversies of all these social media companies, it's optimizing for angry comments. It's optimizing for invoking neuroticism, figuring out your data. So we have like these like rage bait posts, right? Outrage is going to get more views than quality. It always has, right? This is the negativity bias of humanity, right? And now with generative AI art, pure slop, right? Cheap AI generated, mass produced filler. It costs nothing to make, right? So it's like, I mean, it does cost a little something to make. But because of the efficiency of putting out AI slop, they want to basically optimize for its distribution. And addictive loops, right? They're looking for that casinofication and shitification of these applications. We have autoplay, we have an infinite scroll, sort of the TikTok of the TikTokifying of everything. I'll just watch one more video. I'll scroll one more time. Like, how many of you have some sort of like time blocking technology now on your phone that you use to prevent yourself from going overboard with these applications? I know I give myself a 15-minute I give myself a 15-minute limit with Instagram and TikTok daily. I'm not on TikTok anymore, but it's a 15-minute limit for Instagram. And what I realize is I'm consistently ignoring it for the day, right? There's an option to just say, like, ignore this warning for a day. And you get around it somehow. Or, like, now there's entire software suites and even hardware like the brick that like is supposed to basically just brick your phone and prevent you from using these applications or give you like a super minimal access to applications. Anyways, like the amount of effort that we put into sort of uh, um, like tainting these social media platforms for ourselves is like we're getting to the point of just like almost backwards thinking. It's like what is the it's like taking like Epicac to prevent yourself from drinking essentially. It's really like it makes it's backwards thinking, and it's just the place that we're at with it right now is kind of scary, right? So your feed is built for the revenue of the company. You are the product, right? That's the whole business model is you, right? Sharing your data and viewing patterns, right? Spencer earlier today was like, "What's your edge?" And while the wording on that was weird, or like, what's your edge content? I got the idea, like basically to be like, what content have you been looking at lately that's kind of like the current event or the like scientific edge case or something you've seen with like AI or tech in general that has been like maybe like a mini hyperfixation. Um, I yesterday I went down this rabbit hole of like reading into Section 230. Is anybody familiar with Section 230 in the class? Have we heard about it? Vaguely, right? It's like this like really controversial like basically uh uh it's a section, right, of the Communications Decency Act, right? It's the 230th section of the Communications Decency Act. And what uh like why it's controversial right now is because there is an active push to repeal it, and uh it's bipartisan in that like both the left and the right are pushing for the repeal of Section 230, but you really have to look at the arguments for why repealing it, uh, why they want to repeal it, because like from my standpoint, and this is my opinion, right, we're all allowed like our opinion on this, the repeal of Section 230 actually hurts the end user. So Section 230 went into place around 1996, and it's basically the reason why Yelp isn't getting sued when somebody writes a bad review, right? It's it basically states that platforms aren't the publisher of user content, so they're not liable for most of what people post. And this is where we get into sort of like, we're learning to code, but we're also learning about the history of the internet. And I might be showing my age a little, right? But as a millennial, the activation of Section 230 um, aligns with the internet getting really freaking cool. It aligns with this time. It's like 1996, 1997, right? Before that, you had like two basically paragons of like access to the internet, CompuServe and Prodigy, right? And then AOL comes around, and post Section 230, you start seeing like more independent forums. We have access to AOL Instant Messenger, chat rooms, all these things, because no longer was it that the platforms were responsible for the content being shared on those platforms. And think about it, right? It's kind of the wrong question to be asking. Like if somebody sends a threatening letter to somebody, depending on the threats, right? But just if the threats are just words, if somebody sends a threatening letter, you aren't like there's no like government communications act in place to go after the like FedEx or the postal service, right? So um, so it basically says platforms aren't the publisher of user content. They're not liable for what people post. And it also lets platforms moderate their own content that's posted to their platform in good faith without getting sued, right? We have a comment in the box. There are gray areas. If YouTube's algorithm is going to boost pirated videos a lot more, it feels more morally responsible for boosting it than if it merely allowed that content on its platform. But that's more reason to allow personal tuning of your algorithms. All right, and here's where it starts getting like the like into this sort of argument uh, for keeping Section 230 against the repeal of Section 230 from my standpoint, right? There's carve outs for it, right? We saw it in 2018. federal criminal law, intellectual property claims, and sex traffic related claims. This was the FOSTA SESTA Act in 2018, where you saw sites like Backpages. Was it Backpages or Back Channel? I forget the name of the site. And then OnlyFans was under a lot of scrutiny at that time. So the question that we're really asking is who benefits from the repeal or from gutting Section 230, and it's not you. It really is not you, right? Yeah, Craigslist removed all its personal sections, right? The personal sections, looking for sections because of the FOSTA SESTA Act, right? And while we could show us what like the FOSTA SESTA Act shows us what the partial repeal looks like in practice, what ended up happening was a lot of sex workers lost safety resources through the partial repeal of Section 230. Trafficking didn't decrease, right? The law mostly just pushed vulnerable people off of mainstream platforms and into less safe situations digitally and IRL, right? So politicians across both parties right now, and people in power, and like big tech, right? Push to narrow our repeal 230. So that should be ding, 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 the red flag going off in your brain right now about the repeal of Section 230. The reasons that they state are real. These are like their arguments for repealing Section 230 are valid, right? They don't want people posting misinformation online. Harassment and cyberbullying and all that stuff is a real issue. Child exploitation, right? But the actual effect of repealing Section 230 is that platforms become legally exposed for everything that users post. And the rational response, right, is, oh, wait, so like YouTube and Meta and Reddit and they'll and Twitter, they'll all be responsible for what we're posting, right? But really, it's like heavily preemptive censorship down the line. This is going to be driven by lawyers, and this does not have user autonomy in mind. It is not a good check to have against the big tech companies, and here's why, right? Because big platforms, the big platforms have already proven that they can survive this sort of legal scrutiny, right? Meta, YouTube, Google, they can afford those like large compliance departments. They have AI filters for moderation in place. They have entire legal teams. But smaller platforms, indie communities, forums that live outside of the Meta or the Google ecosystem, they're not going to be able to like go up against a $100 million lawsuit. And we will slowly, through the repeal of Section 230, start to see the disassembly of community forums, indie social networks, worker organizing spaces, solo dev projects, the stuff we work on in this class, right? Could get shut down, or people will just never build it because of the liability surrounding it. So the combined result of all of this is fewer places where people can speak I can't say this word, pseudonymously, criticize, like fewer places where we can criticize power, fewer places where we can host content without the corporate moderation, the sovereign infrastructure, right? And that power is going to continue to consolidate until we're at a point that's even worse than where it is right now. And it's pretty bad right now with like the sort of the oligopoly of applications that we use, where just a handful of these corporations and state-aligned interests will decide what's visible. Like we're going towards, with a repeal of Section 230, completely state-owned media, or corporate-owned media, real tech feudalism, tech fascism stuff, right? Um, sorry, not to get like just like, you know, doom and gloom with you, but if repealing 230 mostly helps these big tech companies consolidate power, then who is the repeal actually for? And this is, open for discussion. Who do you think the repeal of Section 230 actually is for? And feel free to mic up. Feel free to post your chats in the YouTube, in the Multiverse campus.
It's for those big platforms. I think we've seen similar from like in another area from like I think OpenAI, I think, and Anthropic, where they are like promoting things in terms of AI safety, but they only existed because they didn't have to do those things. And like I think now that they're big, they're like it's a gatekeeping measure for the most part because it doesn't address actual harms, just the legal culpability of it as well.
I mean that's that's so, I'm not just like going off like into the realm of nonsense here, or like wanting to talk about my political positioning on Section 230. I think that educating ourselves on this moment is important, because it kind of can be like an underlying thesis for the whole project that we're gonna be embarking on this week, right? Platforms are not like stepping up to bat to fix these issues, right? The government, definitely not. They don't even know. Like when this was taken to court in 2018 and then 2019, these are like high level legal teams that are talking about this, bringing it in front of the Supreme Court, and it's dudes in their 80s that are, like that have dementia, that literally do not know how the internet works, and they do not understand why this is such a big issue. They're like, well, we don't really know why. People like the internet. They like using eBay and Ask Jeeves. Just I wouldn't be afraid of more government oversight. It's like, no, that's it's like the internet is not how it was in the 1990s, and it's becoming more and more of the way that people get a majority of their media. And so with our project, the sort of thesis that I want people to think about when we're working on this thing is that once content loads into your browser, it belongs to you. That is public media, right? It belongs to you, and there is nothing that the platform can do about what happens on your machine. That is your property, right? So that's what we're going to be building this week, right? uh, we're taking the data back for the people, right? And we'll see how this live video fares on YouTube, because it's we might be saying some keywords here that are not fun for YouTube. But we if you are watching this, YouTube moderation, we love you, and anything that like goes against YouTube's guidelines are actually kind of just like a parody and a joke, and more from an educational perspective than actually a real use case, right? So what are we going to do about it? Here's what we're going to build, right? This is the pipeline diagram of what I think would be the quickest way to get the re-rank everything idea off the ground. And there's definitely like places we can navigate deeper, more complex things that we can fix, and fun things for us to tool on as a team. But this is kind of like the higher level overview, right? Um, we have a YouTube feed, right? And let's look at my YouTube feed and see what's. Actually, no, I'm not gonna pull up. I'm not gonna pull up in my YouTube feed for the class. That's not a good idea. YouTube feeds, kind of, they're not doing their job, right? The algorithm it pulls just like the wrong content, right? So we have our YouTube feed. Uh, our application will scrape what is present on that feed for the user. It will filter it, and then it will re-rank it and provide a better feed. That's the simple idea, right? Um, and now getting into why this matters, right? Um, Sorry, was there a mic on? I heard a little mic for a second.
To the going back, because I was the one who introduced this idea. I just wanted to say it's not like filtering or re-ranking. Like the rules are going to be particularly complex. This is the case where the crap is like hidden in plain sight. Like we know what a terrible video is. We know that when we're not eating the things we're not supposed to be, it's like a cookie, right? It we just need to put the cookies in the lockbox. That's literally it.
Tight. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, all right. That makes sense, right? I think that yeah, that's a solid redefinition of it. This is just from what, and for those watching, Tasia is in the multiverse campus right now, and this was actually Tasia's suggestion that they offered to the ranked choice voting that we had yesterday, and Tasia wrote like kind of a quick treatment uh, of what this application should be. So if you are in the Matrix chat, go and check that out because this is what we're building. And uh, yeah, I think that we'll definitely rely on sort of like Tasia's kind of like leadership in understanding what this product is going to look like. And then I'll figure out how to sort of plug in the like the nuggets of wisdom that we can get from working on this process, so that we're learning to code and we're bringing it back to a place of like what we can learn from working on this together. So thanks for that. So why this matters for your career, right? Um, like like I think this is a great application to build. I think that it will have it has a lot of like career relevance right now. Browser extensions have hundreds of millions of users. Think about the browser extensions that you use, right? Do y'all use browser extensions? Yes? No? Yeah? Yeah. Um, Anyone like which browser extensions does the class use? All right, we're answering in the box. I see people in YouTube. YouTube might have a little bit of a delay. I just noticed. But yeah, I use a couple browser extensions. Like it's nice to have access to them. Um, I definitely have like ad blockers, all the good stuff. React Dev extensions. We're going to be working with some DOM manipulation. So so DOM, I I always forget this. What does DOM stand for? What does DOM stand for? In JavaScript, not, oh my God, the first thing that comes
Document
up.
object model or something like that.
Yes, document object model. I always forget that when I look up what does DOM stand for, Google search. Don't look that up. It's unnecessary. It's like, why? That's not the answer I want, Google. Uh, yeah, maybe we do need Section 230. Anyways, or maybe we don't need it. Like, it's just like, uh, uh, yeah, DOM manipulation, document object model manipulation, right? This is core web development skill. You'll use it everywhere, right? We're doing a little bit of scraping here. We need to see what's going to be coming up on the page, um, calling that content. And then, as Tasia said, it's not so much content filtering as it is like locking out the content in a way. So, but this is a real industry problem, right? And the sort of search ranking aspect of it. Bitwarden, bookmark managers, sponsor block, better YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Better YouTube is a great example of one. Being able to download YouTube videos, that was a thing that they gave users access to for like a short moment. And I'm not talking about like downloading it on your local device in the cache or local storage. More so like downloading the MP4 from a YouTube video. Um, you used to be able to do that. Now you can't really do that anymore. And something I noticed too is Google Images got notably worse in the last couple weeks. Everything defaults to WebP. They no longer share the image address directly from the search lookup. So you're left with these like huge like base 64 encoded like just garbled mess of links, unusable. You can't download images without like 4 clicks off of the Google image search anymore. And I don't know what that's about. I really don't know what that's about. But like, it seems like all of these sort of tech powers that be are trying to make their applications harder to kind of like reuse in a way. Like they're becoming less and less portable. They're becoming less and less of like these like sovereign sharing mechanisms. They want to keep you on them, and they want to keep you from taking the content from them. Right? Instagram lost a class action, or it wasn't class action. They lost some sort of settlement in which it was a case against, or it was a case against someone, a company that was scraping Instagram, and the company one ended up winning the case. They defended themselves as legally scraping Instagram because Instagram was saying that Instagram users aren't allowed to scrape Instagram. The way they got around that was they said, well, we were never logged into an account. And they were never logged into account. They were scraping Instagram not logged into account. So that's the way they got around it. But then what does Instagram do as a response to that? They make it impossible to use Instagram without an account, right? So it's like, you know, anytime they find themselves in a situation where they're losing cases or they're in some sort of legal hot water, the application is going to change. And these are subtle changes that are made silently. Like nobody notices that you can't view Instagram when you're not signed in. Because unless like you're the type of person who knew this sort of gray area with scraping Instagram content, right? And there's a lot of stuff against scraping content as well. So why this matters um, is we're building something not so much to like circumnavigate those legal guardrails that a lot of these platforms have up, but to come up with solutions that benefit the public, and uh, show the platforms themselves why these loopholes shouldn't be loopholes, and they should actually just be how the platform works, right? And the project is going to be open source, right? We have a public project up on GitHub, so we'll learn how to actually interact with a Git project and the version control and branching and making pull requests and all that stuff. And then it's something that you'll actually be able to point to in your interviews, and because we'll be working on it together, you'll be allowed to kind of show off the areas that you produced, right? So, a little bit about the software development life cycle that we're going to be breaking into. We'll talk about what a sprint is. So, our sprint, like, kind of starts today, right? And we have a shorter amount of time on this project, and that's why I think it's good that we kind of like honed in this project a little bit and think about it from the terms of like a browser extension or a tool instead of a fully fledged app. Although it can get to like more complex places depending on the future of working on it, right? So these are the stages that we're embarking in. Today, we're not really touching code just yet, unless you want to after class, right? Uh, uh, so today is like planning and design, and uh, uh, like then tomorrow we're gonna start really like building stuff. On the fourth day, we're gonna test and deploy and have like sort of a live demo moment. And then if you want to keep working on this project over the weekend, and fine tune it, that's perfectly acceptable. You can also switch to your personal projects, and obviously this is like low stakes. If you want to work on it, but this is kind of the simple overview of what we're going to be doing for the rest of the week, right? um, so we are going to be doing a bit of like agile like demo through this, right? This is a sprint. And what is a sprint? It's a short, focused burst of work, right? So our sprint days are really today through the weekend. Imagine this is an app jam essentially that we're opening up. We only have class tomorrow and Thursday, but you know, any work you do over the weekend on the project is definitely like, that's your extracurriculars there, right? And we're not going to plan completely everything up front today, but we're going to plan enough for us to start like chipping away at the project, and we'll adapt as we go, right? So tomorrow we're going to dive into our first stand up at the beginning of class. What does a stand up entail, right? Working on a project together, we're kind of going to go over like what we did yesterday or what we did today. What did you so yeah, so every day each person will sort of share, what did I do yesterday, what am I doing today, any blockers, right? And there will be opportunities to kind of like fit in wherever you want on this project, right? It's going to be very open ended, and it sort of is whatever you want to make of it. I know that I will be working on this project and just like keeping momentum on it, and so any help is super appreciated. We will get this thing out the door by the end of the week, and the more people that are working on it, the more eyes that we have on the project, the better the app will be for it, right? So have you seen this comic before? Anyone in the watching the stream, this is it's a classic tree swing comic, right? It's basically why planning matters, but it's like the different roles, right? So you have uh, what the customer needs at the end of the day is a tire swing, right? And then you have how the customer explained it, which is like this like three uh, like story swing thing, how the project leader understood it. This is like me botching the definition of the extension that we're going to be building earlier. This is how the engineer designed it. You know, this might be like how like Tasia ends up putting it together. Uh, because it's like engineers be engineering, they be over engineering all the time, right? How the programmer actually wrote it, it's just like a swing tied around a string. How the sales executive described it, cush, luxury, exclusivity, right? We're not really going to have sales execs on this one, so don't worry about that. How the project was documented, and this one's real, right? It's just empty. It's chill for us though because we have access to AI, and guess what? AI is really freaking good at documentation. It's almost too good at documentation. It's like so good at documentation that it's gotten to the point where now when like code is well commented, it used to be the case of like when I was working on like well commented code on a team, I'd be like, I love this person. I freaking love this person because I don't comment my code well at all. So when I see like well commented code, I'm like, this is beautiful. But now because of ChatGPT, because of Claude, because of Vibe coders, the comments are like they're almost like the M dash of vibe coding, right? It's like having like an overly commented, because like guess what? Like coders are just notoriously bad at commenting on things, right? So project documentation as well as coding, comments are super super appreciated, and you could tell that this comment was or this comic is pre AI, right? Different LLM models will comment to different levels, and it's kind of funny watching them undo each other's comments when they work on the same files. Yeah, there's like a yeah, it gets weird. When agents work with each other, when you get that sort of like agentic drift between like maybe different LLMs, like it's funny to see like, oh, this, you know, this one definitely like thinks of itself as like the main like uh data engineer, and this one thinks of itself as like more of like yeah, they kind of get different personalities. Uh, what operations were actually installed? It's just a rope hanging off of a tree. How the customer was billed? It's a roller coaster, right? No one's getting billed on this project, right? It's like how the help desk supported it. It's a stump. And what the customer really needed all along, just a tire swing, you guys. Come on. So every panel, like these are like the archetypes that people fall into when they're working on a project. These aren't just the roles, right? These are also like your hopes and dreams in comic form. Yeah, no, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, but you know, that's a little brutal. Uh, so our plan doesn't need to be perfect, right? The plan, the plan, we already have it, right? We have an idea. Tasia like put up their project idea as the suggestion. We voted on it. Enough people voted on it for it to be like we had 9 votes come in, right? So that's enough people wanting to work on this project for it to pass in round one with the ranked choice. This is what we're working on. Tasia has an idea of what we're going to build. Tasia is like tire swing for us right now, you know? Um, and we just need to kind of like fill in the gaps. So that's why the planning matters, right? So what I have set up right now might not even be what we end up using in the long term. But it's kind of like the simple starts to something, and feel free to change this up, right? So the architecture diagram that I had in my mind was like you have this thing called a manifest.json, right? Which is essentially just a file that tells the browser what to do. The content script runs on the page, and then the sort of like scrape and re-ranking does the actual work. So when we're thinking about what we're building out with this re-rank everything application, um, the what part of it, and this is a discussion for the class, what part of this YouTube re-ranking extension uh, seems the hardest, right?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Um, I think to me is that like what are we? I think we're gonna squabble over like what our filters and our re-ranking mechanisms are, and I think we should just kind of arbitrarily choose some. Like, do we care about the YouTube thumbnail, the title, the transcript, and like I think we should just come up with some dumb heuristics. I don't know how. I'm gonna let you figure that out, Neek, because you're leading this. But anything would be better than like not going into it with that, I feel.
Yeah, yeah, that does seem hard. Uh, I think like a lot of the times, when I think about like executing something and just shipping something and getting it out the door, I call this like it's like there's this idea of bike shedding that Liz talks about, that Drew's talked about, but the idea of bike shedding where it's like Parkinson's law of triviality, right? It's like when we get in groups of people working on projects, there's this tendency to kind of focus on what is like easiest to understand, and then we just don't pay attention to the things that actually are like more high stakes, are important when like we're pursuing, like in the function that we're working on, right? So like in building a bike shed, people start thinking about what color paint the bike shed's gonna be. My like direct personal experience with like bike shedding is just being part of bands. There's always the person that like doesn't like people get stuck on like what to name the band, right? And like you could have a show coming up in 2 weeks and the band doesn't have a name yet, and that like shouldn't be a problem. Just land on a name, right? Or there's always somebody that's like, uh I want to make a bunch of merch. Oh, I can't come to practice today because I have to stop by the screen printers to pick up the T-shirts, and we have a bunch of like fanny packs that are getting made with. I don't know what the band name is yet. We don't have a logo or anything, and it's like, yeah, but you need to come to practice so that we can practice playing the music so that we can go up on stage and not look like idiots, right? Like it's like, yeah, we're calling it re-rank everything because it's just a name, and it's a good name. I like the name. Names that do what the thing does is always supported, right? But yeah, I think that we can also, in thinking about what's going to be hardest, like I like the idea of like kind of landing on criteria for what we're working on, because that's fun. It's like we get to sort of like philosophically think about what makes a solid ranking algorithm. And if we could rewrite how YouTube ranks things, if we could rewrite how the feeds work on these things, how would we make those work for us? You know, what is the definition of a annoying thumbnail? What is the definition of something that looks like ad content or state funded media, right? And so those are fun places to kind of focus, also can be challenging, right? So I think another question to ask for the audience is like, what's like the most fun thing to work on to you with this project in mind?
To be complicated, right? Because like we were talking about this yesterday, Neek and I, and it could just be that like you're like, if a thumbnail is more than 50% face and the face has a stupid expression on it, that's going to be a bad video. Like you can come up with the most judgmental, stupid way of like saying this is a good video, this is a bad video, and then we can just build it, right? This is actually a very good project in that the filters and the re-ranking mechanisms can be built in parallel.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's also like when we're building out teams, like you kind of want people working on the things that they think are fun that other people think are challenging, right? It's like this like yesterday we like focused on this like ranked choice voting platform. There is a function like or like a matrix that you can set up where it's like, oh, Tasia likes working on this like heady like complex ranking algorithm, and like Neek doesn't really like doing the math on that, but like like you can find out where people like fit into different roles kind of based off of the omission of what they find fun or what they find challenging. And there is this sweet spot in finding like, like, also in your learn to code journey, we have TK, we have Tony Sibby. Why can't I donate? Why can't I donate to your channel? I don't know. I don't know, but you'll figure it out. But yeah, join our coding journey with us. We're gonna be building this application together. Where we do lives Monday through Thursday mornings, and maybe eventually we'll throw a donate button in there for a good cause. So yeah, that sweet spot of like what people find challenging versus what people find fun, right? It's all over the place. But so gonna kind of speed through this last part because I want to get everybody kind of like up and running with the homework for the day, right? What is a browser extension, right? So earlier I talked about this manifest.json. We had like a little architecture tree. Now this is like a code snippet of what's in there, right? It's a config file, right? It's HTML, it's JSS, or it's CSS, it's JavaScript. It's like really not like exotic stuff. We could get more complicated with it if we want, but this is like just the setup right now. If you went to open up the GitHub repo, so we'll think about what we have to build in this week, what we must build in order for this to be the re-rank everything application, right? And it's nice to think about must-haves and nice-to-haves. We kind of separate the separations of concerns, right? So what must we have? It needs to load on YouTube. This extension needs to load on YouTube specifically. I picked YouTube because YouTube has fairly lax scraping guidelines, and they allow people to kind of you have your better YouTube extension. They allow for a lot of manipulation of the DOM. It's kind of like on the user. it needs to scrape video titles and channels, maybe even images of thumbnails, right? And then while Tasia said it's probably just like not like a filter application, looking at keywords, looking at block channels, you know, filter, we can be loose with the actual definition of what we're doing with filter, but like it should be doing some filtering to some degree, right? We want to reorder those, redistribute those remaining videos somehow in an updated re-ranked feed, right? And we want to hide the videos that are kind of like locked out of the updated feed. A nice to have, right, would be some sort of UI. A settings pop up going beyond this sort of like manifest.json like headless situation, right? A why was this hidden badge, maybe an explanation to the user that's like, hey, like you said you didn't like faces that look like dumb reaction Mr. Beast thumbnails, and so you didn't get this reaction video on your feed or whatever. AI powered scoring, some sort of like if we could work some sort of AI into this, I think that'd be like really cool and a great use case for the Learn to Code class at the Multiverse School, right? YouTube search support. So like uh kind of like walking people through making better searches within YouTube. Like, hey, like you're the type of person who likes these videos. Maybe instead of searching like 3D glass tutorial, you search glass shader uh, Blender 3D or whatever, like kind of like prompting the user for better searches and helping people develop sort of digital hygiene. Um, Not just digital hygiene, but actually like technical skills, indexing and searching skills. Export, import, filter rules. Again, these are all nice to haves, right? Um, I don't really know what I meant by that one. And then some sort of analytics or stats dashboard, like which I think would be really cool. Like re-rank everything, blocked 90 shitty videos from appearing in your. I'm sorry, I said the S word. I'm trying to curse less. Uh, Blocked 90 bad videos from your feed. Consider buying Tasia a coffee. I don't know. Oh, something like that, right? And so team roles. These are kind of like the like, and you could be in multiple teams and should probably be in multiple teams because I don't know how many people are actually going to take on the project itself. But I think to keep things separated, like I've made like sort of like we have blue team, green team, yellow team, and red team, right? And so the green team, the scraper team, is focusing on sort of the extraction of the video data. How are we logging what is on the page in YouTube, right? We have the filter re-rank team, the blue team. That's building the logic that is actually like underpinning the re-rank everything functionality, right? Uh, what to hide, how to score everything, how to redistribute the feeds, right? Keyword matching, channel blocking, boost rules, right? Um, and then there's these functions that I kind of like think go well with the roles, but again, we could completely veer off of this setup. So, scrape video cards for green team, filter cards, and re-rank cards for the filter re-rank team. We have the extension UI team, right? These set up the actual scaffolding for the extension. If you like kind of UI UX design, or you want to learn how to make sort of pop up like add-on UI, then this is the team for you, the yellow team, right? and integration lead team. These are just connecting everything together. The red team, right? Making sure the pieces connect, the debugging together, managing the repo, helping run stand ups, and keeping everyone on track with their tasks, right? So this is again like a overview of our sprint we have today. We're planning, we're designing, we're working on it. Feel free to take to the GitHub repo later today and build out a branch and work on it on your own. Day three, tomorrow, we're going to get more into the weeds with actually building this thing, right? We're going to focus on putting together some components and integrations. And then Thursday will be just a testing and polishing day. We're going to fix bugs. We're going to test it on an actual YouTube feed. We're going to demo the extension. And then throughout the weekend, if you're still interested in working on this project, then you kind of can work on it at your own pace, or you can switch tacks to working on your personal project. But I am really looking forward to deploying ReRank before class on Monday of next week. So we will have until I think it's the 15th of February that we'll deploy ReRank on. It's going to be open source, right? It's on GitHub. We're working on this as a group. You'll be able to not only share this with like future employers, but also friends who you think the application may benefit their YouTubing. So tomorrow is a build day. Get ready for it. We're gonna do a little morning stand up, and then that's like more on Thursday and over the weekend. Um, so some things to think about when we start working on it. What content do you want filtered out? What do you want to see more of? Is it ethical to modify a platform's feed? What happens when YouTube changes their layout? Are we going to handle like sort of maintenance on this thing, or if YouTube had a sort of re-rank everything, killing um, uh, uh, build that they put out. How are we making this so it can be sort of anti-fragile to an ever updating YouTube feed? And this is just stuff to think about. So before tomorrow, some homework, right? Install a Chromium browser if you don't have one. Chrome, Edge, Brave. Um, enable developer mode so that we can start getting this extension working together. Install Git if you don't have it, and clone the repo. So the repo is, I will throw the link in the chat. Um, and we'll throw it in here too. So you can clone this GitHub repo and take a look at it. So at the bottom, this is what will walk you through how to contribute. We're going to do feature build branch naming convention. And so essentially what that is you set up a branch that is the feature build that you're working on. And then you can commit to that, uh, push the features that you're working on, right? We'll have, uh, because this is still, you know, it's open source, but before open a pull request if you want to before tomorrow, but tomorrow I'll get into more detail what that even means for those of you who are more beginner coders or maybe aren't skilled with Git, and what that should look like working on the rest of this project, making making pull requests, PRs to the project. But for now, this contributing part, once you get the git the repo cloned, this is what you should be doing, is making your own feature branch. And so what is a feature branch? If you're working on something specifically, you would name it like, I am doing the re-rank logic, you know? So you name your branch re-rank logic, or you can name your branch the literal file that you're like optimizing. There's not much there yet, so feel free to go crazy on it. Low stakes, right? If you completely screw up your branch, uh, it's not going to, you haven't made a pull request yet. I haven't accepted it, so it's not going to ruin anything. So I really want people to feel like it's okay to take risks, especially in a learn to code class group project. Like we want those branches made beyond. I'm not worried about like we'll spin up a new repo. It's zero pressure, right? And think about like what you want to be doing within the project. Uh, you know, keep your do what sounds fun to you, right? And if it's not on here, add that to your sort of feature build. Like maybe you're building something completely different in the repo, and we'll take a look at it and see what it is, so yeah, that's the gist of what we're doing. So yeah, if you haven't already, check out the GitHub repo, clone that. And my virtual door is always open. If you get stuck on sort of the Git setup, this is the number one thing that's going to slow people down before tomorrow. So just feel free to hit me up in the Element chat, and I'll make sure you get sorted with that. The scaffold already has some to-do stubs in, I think it's content.js. So if that's something that you want to check out, it's the to-do stubs for these sort of like default teams that I made. But again, we might veer from this actual organization, so keep that in mind. But low stress, work on it, have fun with it, and make your branch. And we're building something awesome. This is Learn to Code. I'll see you tomorrow for a little stand up build. All right, and look out for the links in the Matrix chat. Thank you for watching. Those of you in YouTube land, yeah.